A long time ago, when animals and humans lived side by side, there was a wise and kind king. He loved the animals so dearly and did everything to provide for all their needs. One day, he thought to himself, "Why should I guess what the animals need when they could tell me themselves?" So, he decided to give the animals a voice in his council of chiefs. He gathered all the animals and announced, "Choose one among you, someone wise, strong, and visionary, to represent you in my council." The animals cheered, excited by the idea. Two big names threw their hats into the ring to win the votes of the other animals. Lion, the self-acclaimed ruler of the jungle, and Eagle, the master of the skies. Lion roared confidently and strutted forward, his golden mane glowing in the sunlight, to the awe of the crowd. "I am strong, brave, and fearless. Choose me, and I will protect your homes, your farms, and your families from invaders." The ground trembled with his mighty voice, and many animals cheered in agreement. They liked the sound of safety. Then, the eagle swooped down from the sky in a dazzling aerial display. Landing gracefully before the animals, she said, "Vote for me and kiss goodbye to your boring lives in the confines of the forest. I will show you the world beyond. Together we'll explore new lands. Life will be a thrilling adventure." Many birds in the crowd flapped their wings, happy to embark on adventures with the eagle in the sky, especially farm birds who couldn't fly high. It was a tight race, and right in the middle of the spectacle sat the clever lizard, watching carefully. He spent most of his days basking in the sun at the king's palace. The animals knew the king had grown fond of him, so they assumed Lizard was the perfect candidate to carry their voices to him. And so, both the lion and the eagle tried to win his support. The lion approached first. "Ah, my clever friend," he purred. "You know I'm the best choice, right? I am strong and brave, and I will protect the kingdom. Will you support me?" The lizard, being sly, just nodded. He did not say a word. "Excellent," the lion thought and strutted off, swishing proudly in the evening breeze. He was certain he had the lizard's vote in the bag. Next, Eagle landed beside him. "Hello, my dear friend. I know you are a visionary like me. Support me, and I'll take you on adventures beyond your wildest dreams. You'll see exotic places and incredible sights." The lizard, not wanting to offend the mighty eagle, nodded again without uttering a word. "Perfect!" Eagle beamed as he flew off happily, believing he had cemented his position in the king's council. Meanwhile, some supporters of the lion and eagle came to sway his favor, bringing gifts. Chickens and ducks persuaded him to support the eagle. "We want to see the world beyond the farm," they begged. Lizard nodded without saying a word. Then came the rabbits and frogs. "Please support the lion. We need protection of our homes." Again, Lizard nodded, filling his stomach and burrow with their gifts. Each group left happily, convinced they had the lizard's support. Little did they know that he had a sneaky plan of his own, despite accepting gifts from both sides. "Foolish animals," he grinned, rubbing his tiny scaly hands. "Why should I help them pick a chief when I can be chief myself?" Now, Lizard spent many hours of his day in the palace, observing the king's deliberations enviously, listening to royal conversations and feasting on the leftover food from the king's exquisite meals. The more time he spent with the king, the more he dreamed of royalty. He was not going to miss out on the chance to get himself a position at the king's court. One day, while basking in the sun outside the palace, the king summoned him. "Lizard," the king began, "what do you hear when you take your evening strolls through the village? Tell me who the animals wish to represent them in my council." It was the moment he had been waiting for. "Oh, mighty king," he replied, sly as ever, "the animals are divided. Some animals want the lion for protection, while the rest, especially the birds, prefer the eagle for adventure. They argue so much that I fear a war may break out. Perhaps you should pick someone yourself. Someone you are used to, someone close to you, someone who can easily slide into every home and hear the concerns echoed from every nest, lair, lily pad, and burrow." The king, not wanting his kingdom in chaos, thought for a moment. "Lizard," he said, "I have grown used to having you around through the years. I shall make you my chief. You shall lounge around the homes of the animals and my human subjects to hear their concerns." Lizard smiled happily. His heart soared with joy. "Royalty at last," he said to himself. And just like that, Lizard became the king's chief with free access to every corner of the palace, every corner of the jungle, and of course, every home. But trouble wasn't far off. When the lion heard the news, he stormed over to the lizard, roaring in fury. "You promised to support me, you sneaky lizard." But Lizard blinked innocently. "Promised? Not at all, lion. Think about it. I only nodded. I never actually said yes." Next came Eagle, swooping down in a rage. "You swore you'd help me. You traitor." "Help?" Lizard replied, wide-eyed. "No way, my dear Eagle. I only nodded. I never swore to anything." Realizing they had been tricked, the lion and eagle rushed to the king to expose Lizard's deceit. The wise king was furious. "Lizard, you fooled the entire kingdom and myself. You lied about the animals fighting, and you played both sides for your gain. From this day, you will forever nod, just as you did when you deceived us all," the king declared. And with a wave of his hand, a powerful spell was cast on the lizard. His head immediately began to bob uncontrollably. The king could not revoke Lizard's position as chief. After all, his word was his bond. And so, to this day, Lizard is forever bobbing his head while lounging around in the homes of animals and humans, listening to their needs. So, next time you wonder how your deepest secrets got out, remember it may not be your nosy neighbor spilling the tea. It might just be a sneaky nodding lizard at his royal duties. How do you think the lizard should have handled the situation? Do you think his punishment was unfair? Please share your thoughts. Please like, share, and subscribe, and watch another interesting video on my channel.